Let me get one thing straight. The girlies were crying over this. Hold on. We need to talk about Song of Achilles because I just finished this book this weekend and the the girlies were crying over this. No. One thing I don't do is cry over stupidity. Stupidity is what we're crying over. Let me sit down. Let me sit down. Okay, I'm sad. Okay, we need to. What is going on? So basically, if you guys have not read Song of Achilles, or you just don't know Achilles and what his whole lore is, I'm spoiling. I don't care. So listen if you want. So basically, Patroclus is this young boy who gets exiled after he accidentally kills another royal kid, and he ends up going to the kingdom or whatever that is Achilles' dad, and he's one of the boys that's there, and he's off to the side. But of course, him and Achilles end up forming a little friendship as children, and they're kikiing or whatever, and having a good old jolly time. Well, then Achilles realizes, well, I want you to be my best friend and my best mate. So he's like, I'm appointing you as my best guy. You're my homie. But really, you know what's about to go down, okay? So they're doing good in the first half of the book, developing their little child crushes on each other, because at this point they're like 10 to 14 years old or something like that. So, you know, it's a little something slight. And basically, Thetis, who is Achilles' goddess mother who lives in the ocean, man, she was a problem the whole book. Okay, so she comes in cock blocking all the time whenever Patroclus and him were getting close, and she's like trying to get Patroclus away from Achilles, and she sends him off to this guy named Chiron, and who's in this mountain. And Patroclus is always following Achilles everywhere. He follows him, and Achilles like, oh my gosh, I knew you would come. I just knew it. Oh my god. And it was cute, or whatever. But that is the problem. Patroclus, he does not know when to stop following Achilles, and that is his downfall. Because throughout the whole book, when it takes a turn and there's gonna be the war for Helen to come back, and all of the kings are like, okay, I'm calling up all the people that proposed to Helen to come get your girl, and we're gonna fight Troy. And Patroclus is like, does that mean me? But Thetis is like, you're not sending my son to war. So she hides Achilles off on this island and makes him dress up as a woman. Honestly, that was a cute little moment for him. He was doing what he needed to do to blend in, learning how to dance and everything. And I was like, not him doing a little two-step. But anyways, that is not the problem. The problem comes in when the Greek, like, culture and how people offend each other. Honestly, the testosterone in this book was just too much for me. I was gagging on the testosterone. It was too much. Because why is everybody offended by the smallest things? And why does Achilles not stand up for himself when he knows everything he does to please his mother is making Patroclus upset? Like, he literally sleeps with the girl that's the princess on the island where he's dressing up like a girl. And poor girl, oh my god, she couldn't even raise her baby. So the girls in this book get treated like dirt. But I will say, Achilles had no eyes for the women in this book, or should I even call them women? All the people that were like women or of age to marry were like 16 years old and whatnot. So in our time, they were like children, but in their time, they were of age. But anyways, so that is not even the foolishness of why I don't believe people should be crying over this couple. The foolishness comes when Achilles is finally discovered on the island, and Odysseus comes and is like, you gotta fight in this war. And Patroclus is talking to Achilles like, you're really gonna go? And then Achilles has the audacity to be like, what am I if I don't have my powers? If I don't have my honor? If I don't have my reputation? You have Patroclus. You have Patroclus. That's all he needed to have, because Patroclus was like, well, you know, we could just live our life in peace. And he's like, no, I'm destined to be great. So Patroclus follows this guy 10 years deep into this war and gets nothing out of it except for, like, you know, some surface level respect for being able to do medical care on these guys in the army. But the real issue is that when Achilles... I gotta catch my breath. Wow. So the real issue here is that there is this king named Agamemnon. Look, not only am I frustrated because of the characters in this book, but I'm frustrated pronouncing their names too. Okay? So there is Agamemnon, the king, and he has such... He's terrible. He has such pride. And the whole thing comes to a collision when he offends Achilles by taking this girl named Briasis, or however you pronounce her name, who's Patroclus' best friend. And he's like, you need to bow down to me, and I'm taking your girl, and that's that. And Achilles is like, no, you offend me, I'm gonna kill you, da 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 da. I'm not gonna fight in this war until you apologize. They don't settle their differences, and literally Achilles is fine letting the whole camp get annihilated by the Trojans just because he wants the man to, like, not disrespect him. And on top of that, he was fine letting his Patroclus's bestie get essayed to prove a point, and Patroclus still stayed by him. You're joking. And mind you, Patroclus, when he left for that war, he literally said, if Achilles' destiny is to die, I won't live too long after. I'm gonna die too. Let me never love a person like Patroclus. Like, I will never love a person as much as Patroclus loved Achilles. I'm sorry, call me selfish. Maybe it's because I'm a Leo. I don't care. I am never, okay? I am never doing that. So anyways, Patroclus ends up saying, well, if you're not going to fight, at least let me wear your armor to pretend like I'm you and scare off the Trojans. He does that, and what do you know? He dies. Duh. Stupidity. Y'all are crying over this? So then Achilles finally says, oh, I didn't fight before my man died, but because you guys killed my man, I guess I'm gonna fight now. And he fights, and then he kills Hector, and he dies because of Paris, and they are the real villain of the book. Well, Achilles already was not worth dying over, but the real villain is Achilles' son, because why did this guy come in, didn't know his dad at all, never met him, and assumed that he knew him best not to have Patroclus' ashes buried with him? Get out of here, my guy. Odysseus should have slapped the crap out of him. You're 12. Why are you joining adult conversations? I'm sorry. I always wanted to say that now that I'm 25, you know. Why are you joining adult conversations? You're a child, okay? But anyways, Song of Achilles, I did not shed one tear by the end of this book because I don't cry for stupid stuff. Was the writing spectacular? Absolutely. You know, you can't blame the author. She's just retelling the mythology. Now, she wrote it very well, but I don't understand why the girlies were crying. I don't get it, but that's my review. The writing, I'd give 5 stars. The character's stupidity, out of this world. They weren't working with the brain cells. They really weren't. They weren't working with the brain cells. But anyways, read this book if you want to be stressed and you want to be befuddled. That's my review. And that's not my review. Actually, the last part I want to say is that Achilles was Thetis's Mama's boy. Mama's boy. Instead of going to get back Patroclus's friend, who's the girl that I said was gonna get essayed, he said, "Oh, I need to go talk to my mother and consult her." Mother's boy, don't date mama's boys. Okay.